in our next panel, Luxury in the 21st Century, Maintaining Traditions and Marine Innovation. Creating experience is a top priority for executives of luxury firms today. How come these luxury firms can continue to offer unique, memorable experience and in the meantime constantly innovate, maintaining customer loyalty while attracting new customers from the next generation? It's a challenge. And for that challenge, we have an outstanding group of speakers. Please welcome our moderator, Carlos Delso, Caroline de Maigret, Marcela Vélez, de M2 Maletier, and Inma Manresa from Hermes, and Inés Lorenzo from Condé Nast Spain.
Vous allez au milieu, non?
As you wish.
L'homme.
Thank you.
Ça, là, on peut pas.
Thank you very much, Anna. It's a great pleasure to be here at this surrounding for beautiful women. And it's a pleasure to discuss how technology, how all the new data and so on is influencing luxury. Luxury is talking about tradition. Luxury is also about innovation. But today we need to maintain desire. Not only for millennials. Millennials is just something maybe out of fashion. It's for any single client. For that reason, how we can embrace this technology to our brands. And today we have some old brands, traditional brands, the epitome of the brand for me, the luxury. We have some new brands. We have also media, which is a key player in the luxury industry, and a key influencer or trendsetter like you to discuss about it. I don't know. I mean, I watching the défilé of Chanel 2 years ago. There was the scenery was about technology. When someone asked Karl Lagerfeld, "Can you be able to live without technology?" He said, "No, I won't be able to live without technology." How can the first question to start is how brands can, luxury brands can embrace this technology to create a competitive advantages? Is it possible to marry technology with luxury, or is it going to be a kind of divorce? Marcela, please, a younger brand to start.
Perfect. Well, I think in terms of luxury, it's super important for all of us to be able to represent our brand like well online. It's super important, for example, our bags, we make bags, so they're handmade, they're handcrafted. So how do we actually represent this digitally? Nowadays, about 40 to 50% of the sales come online. Before, you could go walk into a store, touch the bag, feel it, try it on, the salesperson would tell you the story, and now we only see it on a screen. So how do you actually represent this on a screen? How do you actually show the quality when someone cannot touch it or feel it? So I think that's where we have the challenge of how are we able to show the final customer where this comes from? So I think that's when innovation comes in part. So finding ways to do 3D, for example, virtual 3D for the person to be able to zoom in, see the texture of the piece, and finally kind of get a better perception of what they will be buying.
That's great. And I was watching a video, an Hermes video, beautiful Hermes video a few days ago, was a young guy skating with a foulard, which is amazing. Could you please tell me about it? I mean, is Hermes about skating or is it about video?
No.
How is changing? Because I think you are creating beautiful experiences even online.
I think it's just about digital nowadays is embracing in your own way. I think all the brands need to find their own way of expressing. Sometimes Hermes is like a traditional house, which we are, of course, but it doesn't mean to be faithful to your core values, to your customer, to who you are. It doesn't mean to be moveless. So you need to adapt to the new times. So for us, just digital is a way of expressing ourselves, and it gives us the opportunity of showing who we are, what we do worldwide, because one of the strongest things about Hermes is about the diversity we have in different countries. So we are able to show at the same time what is going on in Beijing in an event called A View from Her, expressing the contemporary Hermes woman. Meanwhile, there's a craftsmanship like Festival de Métier in Canada or in Mexico. Meanwhile, it's taking care of fashion show or an artist window in Barcelona that happened recently in Instagram. So it's just to open the window, find our tone of voice, and it's what we are looking for right now. So, and why not? Sometimes it's perceived that we are not disruptive, and we can be. Maybe people doesn't know, but who we are today is due to a moment in which we were quite disruptive, and it's gonna be like by the beginning of the 20th century, but it's true, our business was based about horses. And then Émile Hermès came back after the First World War, and he said, okay, horse is going to be finished. It's going to be all about cars, what we should do. And he went to the United States, bring a zipper, and he started taking that know-how on doing bags with zippers. So it's just, sometimes you be disruptive in a creative way. So it's the same we are doing now in digital as well.
Yeah, that's great. Ines, who brands luxury brands are asking you to communicate in a different way, or maybe is continue to making a double page, single page, or?
No, I think it's absolutely different. I think we are the first who are communicating in a different way. For Vogue technology, I think it was like the biggest opportunity to show like a wider look on the fashion world. It's a fashion world that you get to know very well when you work in Vogue. You get to see many amazing things, and afterwards, what you show to the public is like an amazing magazine. But now they want to know better, and I think technology is helping us to show that. And it's exactly the same for the brands. What brands are demanding is to communicate much more about them. It's not only like the final product or the final result that people get to see in the store, but also the values and the, I don't know, like the journey that gets to have this final product. And I think in that sense, technology and video for sure, but also like real-time content and a lot of storytelling, it's like the best way to work. So I think brands are demanding us to help them to communicate with the user, but to communicate not only this final luxury product, but also the experience around it, which is like the great big word of this year, no? Experience is what everyone wants, so that's what they're trying to get through us, I think.
What is your opinion about, Caroline, about this new wave arriving to luxury and how we use the technology and maybe to transmit only by the sense of sight? I mean, what do you think about it?
No, I think technology is a great way of communication for brands. It's part of creation. You know, creation is innovation, so it's new fabrics, new cuts, 3D, whatever, all this. But I mean, I worked with the brand Chanel, so it's really high luxury, and for me, I don't know, there is something, you don't consummate a luxury good like you consummate to buy a T-shirt. Mm-hmm. It's a different approach, and I don't know if you're going to come to this see now, buy now thing, or if you're just coming
next
later.
Question.
Okay.
Yes,
Shall
that's
I go?
great. Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, I think, that's time is luxury nowadays, and desire is a luxury, and I'm not sure it's very interesting to cut the desire and the time you take to find something, to desire a product, and nowadays consumers are valuable consumers that know what they want to consummate, and they want to know how things are done and who do it, and that's what luxury brings you, is you're gonna have all these very talented little hands, that are in atelier, that are treated well, that are paid well, that that have the good fabrics, that are going to do prototypes, they're gonna redo their prototypes and then to make like the best of the best, like an excellency. And this matters more to me that, you know, a piece of clothes that has been done so well that I'm gonna have for life, I'm gonna give to my daughter later, you know, and all this. So the See Now Buy Now, I'm not sure I understand with the power of social media that when it finally comes in shop, you're a bit bored already of the dress you've been seeing for 2 months, but I think people ought to be a bit more respectful of work, and anyway, you know, luxury brands, when they don't communicate about it, but when you go in a shop, you have See Now Buy Now because they don't communicate. They only communicate on 10% on a fashion show of what's is in a shop anyway. So you always have goods that you've never seen. So yeah, that's my take on it.
No, I mean, it's a very, very critical point to the See Now Buy Now. And today there are separation. British brand, pioneer brand Burberry is following See Now Buy Now, and American brands is following See Now Buy Now. On the other hand, we've got French and Italian brand that say that luxury is time. Is time in luxury is about immediacy. How we can deal with this immediacy that See Now Buy Now is being asking by clients and by consumers?
We think it's what Caroline was saying. It's just about, it depends who you are, what your values, and in our case in Hermès, it's impossible to see it by now. We need for a scarf, it's not only talking about bags. It takes 2 years to develop, since the design, the colors, printing, doing it in Lyon. The same for a bag. The bags takes, since you get the leather, then it's like made for one artisan, between 14 and 20 hours sewing, and that is precious. And it's not, we have the debate as well as experience over possession, and sometimes it even could be the same. We're just throwing a line like, this is experience, this is how we know, but because having a bag with you have a story, or you have wished for your whole life, and then you have the chance to go and have it because you really want to have that piece that has a meaning behind. That's craftsman doing them, as Caroline was saying, they're well paid. We are considering, we always say craftsmen are the core of our business. They're like the core part. So why not? It's like owning a precious object that takes so long to be made, and it means there's a lot of people working on that industry. It has an experience itself, so we cannot always set experience versus possession. It's not like that, because possession can be a story, and a storytelling for your daughter, for your nephew, for whatever. So we really believe in steel. It takes time, and luxury is about desire. And if you can buy it now, the desire is going to dilute. What is the next thing? Because I want this, and maybe tomorrow I want another thing. So we're going to lose the essence of luxury, that is the desire, provoking that desire, and that emotion behind it.
If I can add one thing as well, I think that's that's what fashion is brands make you desire things. They're not supposed to follow customers. No. That's what high-end shops do. But luxury is the one that tell you or gives you desire to buy things, and they don't have to follow the fact that you're on internet all day, you know?
No.
It's but it's
really
true.
Maybe the problem, I think, is that we've used the word luxury so much that we are applying it to almost everything.
That is, yeah.
So
Exactly.
maybe what we need to do now is like to start using the word luxury for such fashion brands with such a legacy and a know-how like Chanel or Hermès. And maybe there are other brands that can find luxury in another way. You know, I don't think that See Now Buy Now is a question now, it's a reality. And I saw it with my own eyes in Tommy Hilfiger show in New York. And I can tell you, this was a collection and it was an experience. You were really experiencing the collection in the show, because it was shown on a pier with an amusement park and all the American girls and all these crazy things. And the collection was about that. So it was a collection that you were seeing it and you wanted it like in 10 minutes, not 10 months. So that's another thing, and the luxury there is in the See Now Buy Now, but there are other brands and other products where the luxury is almost in the waiting, like in Hermes. I don't know, I think it's almost a luxury to be waiting 3 months to get your
years.
bag. That,
2
or
years.
3
3
yeah,
years.
3 years, sorry. To get your bag that will be with you forever, like for 3 generations. So that's the luxury there, but you cannot apply the same category of luxury to other brands.
How are you going to manage this different? Because there are some luxury brands, for sure. Tommy Hilfiger, there's going to be a lot of discussion. Is luxury or is not luxury? But Burberry, for sure, we will find an agreement that is a kind of luxury, British luxury, and for sure Tom Ford is luxury. How are you going to manage some in terms of media and in terms of your readers, that you're going to have some collection to be communicate, see now by now another collection to be communicated, I mean, fall and spring at the same time?
It's absolutely crazy. From the beginning, it's like a technology
She's not
problem.
sleeping.
No, but
She's against.
there's a technology problem, you know, because we already had clothes like the autumn-winter season. It was like something from the past, and then we needed to reopen it because we needed to include some shows, and all the team were like crazy. But I think we are all understanding that things are going that way. And also I want to say that see now, buy now is not an attack to the process. It's just a matter of if you see something, it doesn't matter if it has been done like 6 months or 1 year, but once you see it, you want it. So maybe it's not that we or a new generation, that they want to kill this waiting time. It's just that once they see, they want to buy it, but they don't care if it's made in 6 years or 6 months.
I
But it's-
disagree.
No.
But
We disagree.
But
Marcela,
I think, I think that's where the biggest problem comes, when they don't care if it's taken 6 months or 1 year to make. Like for us, we're a young brand and we work with a beautiful small factory in Alicante, and everyone has been working there for 30 years, you know, and it's their life. And we get, for example, we post a photo on Instagram and immediately everyone is commenting, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. So yes, it's a challenge. How do we are able to cater to the needs of the girls that want it now, but at the same time, you know, for us, we are trying to develop a lot of new techniques in the leathers, in the finishes, with embroideries, with embossing. And it takes us about a year to develop and to test these so that the quality is, you know, what our customer expects, especially when you're doing bags that are 2,000 euros. So that's, for us, we think that desire makes the brand a little bit more luxurious, I guess. That need for the people to be writing to us, where can I get this? Where can I get this bag with the embroideries? No, it will be in stores in 6 months. And when we post that photo on Instagram, it's in stores now, and they've been waiting for it for 6 months. I just think it makes the whole experience more beautiful for the person that buys it.
Yeah, but for sure, you know, I work in a magazine that takes a long time to produce.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not saying that they don't care if it's done in 1 day. For sure they care because the quality is not the same. What I mean is that once they see, it's not us maybe, it's a new generation, but I can see it on the website every day. It's a different, maybe it's not going to be 1 day or it's not going to be 6 months, but something in between, I don't know.
Yeah, I think, but at the end of the day, it's a debate that it makes sense to talk about it, but which is proper with your brand, which is your core, which is the core values, which is the DNA. And in some brands, it will make sense. In others, it won't make sense because you will lose who you are and what your stands for is the craftsmanship 80 times, the leather, everything that's even the young brand. Marcela was explaining pretty well and can be applied to us as well. So it's just to find, this is like, it cannot be for everybody see it by now, or men, female, or changing the calendar. It's just, you need to find the way that it's just stands for your values, that it doesn't mean to be moveless, that it doesn't mean to look to the past or to project to the future, but it cannot work for everybody. Now it seems that if you don't do that, you are like out of the market, and it's not like that.
Carol.
What do you think?
Well, no, it's just if my child wants a toy right away, he'll wait.
Yeah.
you know? And I think
Completely.
it will make a better world to have kids that know how to wait.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's going super fast that we have to follow the spoiled kids. I'm sorry, I'm not for this world.
Yeah.
I don't want this world to happen. So I will
Okay.
keep fighting on the other side.
I
You don't
agree.
have to obey.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a great way in communication
Yes.
and offering experiences and giving them things all year long. This I completely agree. For the rest,
So at the end, the recap of the See Now by Now is it depends on the brands, and probably we will have a separation among
Yes.
Anglo-Saxon brands that are more based on impulse, and European brands that are more based on craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a way of saying, I
Yeah.
mean, two different
Okay.
yeah,
luxuries.
no, it's true. I think that's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what we're
Especially, I
saying.
think the brands that are competing with high-end, high-street stores, they need to
Exactly.
change
Exactly.
their
Yeah.
view. And the ones
Exactly.
that want to play like in a bigger game, it's the same that as a magazine is not going to be done in 1 week.
Yeah.
It's never going to be like that. But
On the other hand, there is another trend, very emerging trend, which is the unisex défilé. And on this hand, European brands are embracing unisex défilé. Do you think that in the future there will be no fashion week for men and it's going to be a fashion week unisex, or is going to be?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just if you have the money to do shows or not,
Yeah.
no?
I mean,
I don't know. No?
it's less expensive.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's more efficient. I think that I feel like the whole year is completely full. There's always Fashion Week, almost, men's pre-fall, cruise, spring, summer, fall, winter, and I feel like also the press and the buyers, people get tired. So I think that in terms of efficiency, it would make sense to have men's and women's Fashion Week together and have men and women in the same runway together at the same time.
And for you?
I
Lucky
think
Media?
there's a practical point, and it's that you cannot add much more timing to not only press, but to everyone, and also the attention. And I think it's also like a strategy, There are some brands that are really working this no gender aesthetic and this genderless, we call it. And it's a great way to communicate that, to do one show with both men and women. I don't know, like Gucci is creating some different barriers between men and women. And I think that showing men and women in the same show makes sense. But for other brands, for sure, I don't really see that. Like for Dior, I don't imagine like the
You
same
never know.
runway.
With Curie, you never know.
And for sure, it's also a thing about creating news and creating content. So
Yeah.
if now the difference
Exactly.
is in that, we
problem
do
is you
that.
need content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want content that doesn't look like an ad,
Yeah.
because nobody wants to see an ad anymore, because that's what internet is,
Yeah.
you need to give content, and show is a content.
Yeah.
So
Resort.
we're going to, at the end, we're going to have separation. It's going to be the Anglo-Saxon luxury See Now by Now, the European luxury waiting time, and some brands unisex and some brand men are women. So it's going to be much more complex to.
Yeah, for
to
website, it's going to be
for
absolutely
website,
crazy.
men.
And also for the final customers, I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit confusing. They don't know, some brands doing See Now by Now and the other ones, keeping it traditional. I think the final customer is going to be a little bit confusing. So I think it's an important job that communication and media has to do in order to educate a little bit to the clients what's happening.
A lot of fun. And next point is sharing economy. Sharing economy is shaking a lot of sectors. What is your opinion about to rent an Hermes bag, or maybe to buy it second-hand? I mean, there's a lot of webs that is booming, like Armarium, like the Real Real, like the luxury. I mean, there's a lot of is luxury.
I think it's not something
Yes.
that corresponds, at least for us, to our brands. Is we sell a bag, there's a story behind, and we expect that person to have a story with that bag. And we, Jean-Louis Dumas was always, we sell objects for the rest of your life that will go for another generation, that can be repaired. So because we always have an artisan in our store, so a bag could be repaired. So there's the personal story, the attachment that you have to that bag. And then at the end, it's up to you to that. But it's not for the brands, because we are not, as I said before, we are not doing okay because you want it now and you want to show to your friends. It's okay, keep it for 1 month. No, it's an object. It's a precious object with a story behind that you want to hold. And we love the bags to have the patina of time and everything. So if someone wants to sell it, or it's up to them, but we are not gonna get into that market.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I really don't mind wearing the same thing all the time, because that's what I am, and that's what style is. Yeah, it's a story. It's at the end of the day, I'd rather have one really cool bag than 10 different bags. But you know, I think everyone is different, and you know, I have no judgment at all about that. It's just me as a woman. That's how I like to have, is like great pieces that I'm gonna have for a lifetime.
Timeless. Exactly. Timeless pieces.
Yeah, and it
that
doesn't
you
make
can
you.
wear
It doesn't make
forever.
you not trendy.
No,
It's
exactly.
just there's body in it.
Shows your personality
Yeah.
at the end of
That's
the
what
day.
style is, personality.
But this is more on rent, but on second-hand luxury, what is your opinion?
It's cool.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Me,
cool.
I go. I buy a lot on second hand.
You buy a lot of second
Yeah.
hand. So, I mean, there is a different position from renting luxury.
Completely.
The renting
Then-
is not yours, so it's just like, oh, look at my new dog. I don't know, but it's fine. But
second-hand luxury, do you
second
like
hand
it?
is cool because you can afford it, you know, more
Yeah.
sometimes, and also maybe, you know, it's not gonna be in everyone's arms. I hate it when I go into a shop and I find a shirt and it says, oh, it sells so well, and I'm like, okay,
I don't want it.
No, thank you.
I'm not
Yeah.
having it. So it's a bit the same. And yeah, I do buy, you know, I buy new and old, and I love the idea that someone else, you know, had a whole life with, you know, a piece of clothes. I like both, yeah.
I mean, luxury, another sector of luxury like cars and boats and planes is very common to buy a second-hand car. I mean, even it's becoming a vintage car. So maybe it's a way to develop a new opportunity to communicate and to create desire for brands. I don't know. But
I think there's something very special in owning a piece of luxury, and that's something that renting cannot even compare to owning. But I think there's something that is coming out, and it's like people looking for heritage brands, but also for heritage items. You know, like Caroline said, it's not about the last bag that is not going to be here this season, but I think more and more people are coming after like the iconic bag and the one that has a history. So secondhand could work with this idea and this trend. I don't think renting in fashion has that appeal that it can have in other business.
But it's going to be a business that is going to be embraced by brands, or it's going to be third parties that is going to sell second-hand luxury products?
I think third. I don't think by the brands, right?
No, I cannot reply by Axel Dumas, obviously. But no, I don't think it's what we're gonna do.
But on the other hand, you can go to the Mercedes or BMW dealer and you can buy a second hand, and they treat you like you was buying a first-hand new car. I mean,
Yeah, I think it has nothing to do with brands,
Yeah.
secondhand.
And I think
Yeah.
it's also a difference
For fashion.
because when you buy a car, I think you know that it's not going to last forever. But
Exactly.
one bag, some of them can really last
you know, no,
forever.
there's cars that will last forever. Ferrari will last forever.
Yeah,
At least
but,
for a man that likes cars.
you have to invest a lot, I'm afraid. But I don't know. I think that the idea when you buy an Hermes bag is that you're going to have it, and then your daughter. So it's not something that one day you get tired of and you go to a store. Maybe with some
And you
other
sell.
kind of luxury goods it happens. But
It's what I was saying. At the end of the day, we don't offer that possibility, because what we are offering, on the contrary, is that you can repair your bag for your lifetime and come how many times as you want. You cannot see. We are lucky enough to have an artisan in the Madrid store in Ortega y Gasset, and you see sometimes I visit him and just show this little jewel that a woman has brought because because it was the gift of her husband when they married, and this is such a beauty behind it. So what we are doing on the contrary is supporting that, so people can repair the bags and sometimes it costs to get a repair even the same quantity of buying a new bag from another brand, but they want that bag because they have a personal attachment, and that's quite
Emotion.
valuable emotion.
Yeah.
So it's
The
what
time
we
is
support.
It's the same for clothes. If you go
Yes.
to Chanel, where when you buy a dress, you have the woman from the atelier that will come and the real one that did that dress or her friend will come and sew it on you and push back the shoulder to fit you, and it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
That's great. Time is over, and I mean the future is now, and luxury brand needs to adapt and to take position with all these new trends that are coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ay, dale.
Sí, es que es lo típico.